Hey, everybody, and welcome back. It's Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing, Case?
Good, man. Just hanging out.
Yes, hanging out. Trying to weather
all day
the storm.
Yep.
Here we are in week, I don't even know what it is, 5? Is it week 5?
4. I think we're ending week 4. I don't know. I have no idea.
Man, yeah.
I have no idea what time
it is. Run together.
Yeah.
Again, we hope everybody is staying safe and taking care of yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still some Star Wars to talk about.
Yeah, there's been some good things happening past week or so.
Yes, and I feel like we are, which we'll talk about, is we're gearing up for some crazy Clone Wars episodes. These next 4 episodes, I feel like. Mm-hmm. So we'll dive into that a little bit, kind of preview Siege of Mandalore, which everybody, I feel like, has been waiting for. Kind of talk about Ahsoka's arc that just closed up last week. A couple things, other things that have popped up new over the last week. And, of course, we'll wrap up with a special little topic that I think will be a little fun to talk about, which is centered around a little article I read about. I think this was kind of known, but kind of was released a little bit more in depth this week about the Star Wars movies, returning to May with Solo and kind of supposed to be kind of kicking off a new series of films that were going to be released in May, but we didn't get those, obviously, and we were going to kind of talk about what we would have liked to see come in those movies. So anyway, first up, Casey was a guest on the Mandalore Podcast this weekend with Martin and myself talking about Ahsoka's arc finishing up this last episode 8 that aired last Friday. Go definitely go check that episode out to hear us dive deep into that episode and of course the arc. But both things, Case, with that finishing and Siege of Mandalore starting this week, what I don't know, how excited are you to go from that arc into some more actual Clone Wars battling?
Well, I mean, there's just so much writing, well, not writing, but just so much expected into this last arc. It's really just, I mean, I didn't need much to look forward to it and to get excited about it, just because I know what's at stake. I mean, this episode that we just got last Friday did a pretty decent job of setting it up, which of course gets you excited. But I mean, I was already amped up, and especially it's more so what I'm reading from the cast and what they're saying on Twitter about it. Like, I just read Sam Witwer today, just talking about how speechless he is about how amazing the whole arc is, and everybody's just raving about him and Ray Park and Ahsoka, everybody, and it's so, and they released the trailer for it, and it's really by itself. I'm just so amped up. But yes, this whole season leading up has been great. Overall it's been great. It's definitely brought me back into the fold of Clone Wars world and just getting back familiar with these characters again, doing what they do best, and just at the same time, it's very bitter just because it's the end. So, you want to see everything as much as possible with each episode, but it's all coming to an end. So it's definitely bittersweet. Yeah,
I feel like this whole season, going into it, it was, if we just got the Siege of Mandalore, I feel like everybody would have been
absolutely
completely satisfied.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you texted me, I don't know, what is it, 2-3 weeks ago, that you were finding a lot of hate on social media regarding the Ahsoka arc in particular, I think. But then
I mean, there's hate for everything, but I mean, definitely just a lot of people being negative about all the episodes so far.
And I think partially a lot of that has to do with, I think Filoni, not that he shouldn't have done it, but I feel like Filoni kind of backed himself almost in a corner a little bit over the years with Celebrations releasing like episodes that were unfinished. I mean, we basically know everything, basically, almost, I would say. There's probably some we don't, but there's a ton of episodes that we know about that we were supposed to be getting. Arcs with Boba Fett, arcs with Chewbacca, the Yuuzhan Vong possibly showing up. It's like,
right,
you had all of these storylines that you didn't get and you never expected to get, but then all of a sudden with this announcement that, Clone Wars is coming back for a final season, it's like, wow, we're finally going to get those stories. Well, we're not getting those stories. And, Bad Batch, even the other one, the Crystal Crisis on Utapau, didn't get that, so there's definitely a lot more that I kind of think back and I'm wondering, I kind of start wondering why Disney didn't let him truly finish, do all the episodes you had planned. There's probably 2 seasons. I think we talked about it. 8 seasons was what they kind of had in mind. It's like finish out 7 and 8 with 20 episode seasons, and people would watch it. I think people would be ecstatic for it. So unfortunately, you've got a shortened season, a shortened ending. I feel like Siege of Mandalore is going to give me everything I want out of it. But I have this unfortunate feeling that I'm still going to be left with an unfinished Clone Wars series. You know what I'm saying?
What they need to do, though, just with the remaining stories, every one a year or 2 a year, just bookend the year with them, is make them into movies and just take the Boba Fett, Cad Bane stories and just make that a Clone Wars movie. Just finish that out.
Could do that.
Yeah,
easily could do that.
Any of the arcs that they've kind of had cooked up, just one at a time. It doesn't
have to be chronological. Just drop it in somewhere. You
exactly. Make it a movie. There's just say there's season 8. Just call it that if you want to. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just.
And I don't know if I remember telling you this, but I did think the other day that because I was starting to feel like, man, I just know it. I'm about 90% sure I'm gonna feel incomplete still at the end of this season, the series. But I started thinking, like, you know what? What I would have done, and of course I can dream all I want, but I would have done as many as I can in the 12. If I only had 12, I would have pitched like, look, okay, I'll do 12, but I would have taken Ahsoka. We talked about this on the Mandalore podcast. I would have taken the 4 episodes that we just saw from Ahsoka and condensed it down to 2. I would have probably, done those other stories, try to condense them into 1 episode arcs. But I would have, like you just said, I would have ended the entire series the way it began. Make Siege of Mandalore a movie. Yeah. Right? Make it a 1.5 hour movie, and I'm telling you, that would have been just watch the whole thing through. It'd be spectacular.
Yeah.
So you're Bob Iger. You would have taken that, right? If I would have pitched that to you as Filoni.
Yeah. Done.
It just made sense to book in the entire series with movies, And I think it's going to be hard for fans. They've been doing it already, but it's like this. And I think even Whitworth texted it. I think he watched the first 3 episodes together and, talking about raving how well it plays together. It's like, God, it's going to kill people to wait a week and wait. In fact, I saw people replying to him saying, Sam, do you think I should actually just hold off and wait till they're out and then binge the whole thing?
It's impossible because you'd get spoiled. There's no way.
Yeah, probably.
Unless you're just,
There's no way I could do it, yeah.
Yeah, like Rise of Skywalker level, just media blackout. You'd have to just go dark. Which is hard.
Very hard. Very hard. But yeah, Siege of Mandalore coming. You talked about Sam Whitwer on there has already seen the series finale. It's going to be pretty epic. I still, yeah, and I will get a good sense after tomorrow when the first episode airs of this arc that how much we're gonna, or when are we gonna see the conclusion in the sense of this, and in the sense that how much time is left for kind of a wrap up. I'm curious to see if like this just kind of abruptly ends at the end of this of episode 12 and
sure,
kind of goes into or overlapping with the Order 66 or whatever. So,
yeah, no, I was really from our conversations on the Mandalore podcast, I was really just kind of realizing and thinking, just how we can still be very surprised by by the events, that happened during Revenge of the Sith, because, yeah, we're going to see Anakin and Obi-Wan in, this next episode at least with setting up, because they have to, the tagline, the log line is they have to decide whether to, save Palpatine or work with Ahsoka. So that's right before the movie. But, I don't know how much time takes place in those remaining 3 episodes. Where does Order 66 take place? And after, and I feel like there's so much that we didn't see in Revenge of the Sith with the main characters, not really talking about Anakin and Obi-Wan, but Mace Windu, Yoda, any of the other major Jedi, or Padme. Well, we were told Padme's not going to be in it, but I'm just, the point is there's so many things that we didn't see in Revenge of the Sith that I feel like we could be surprised at what we don't know throughout the course of this arc. Like, what if Mace Windu comes in and does something, like, because we don't see him in all of Revenge of the Sith. So what if he appears more so in Siege of Mandalore in some fashion? Or I'm just excited to see the connections between what happens in Siege of Mandalore to the events, like changing our perspective with how we watch the film.
Well, it's in the trailer that you get that famous discussion that Anakin or that Mace is talking about. He senses a plot against the Jedi, and I mean that's during Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, I was watching the trailer. I think they did another trailer today. Maybe it's the second one. I can't remember. Maybe it was a re-edit on it, but it was one of the trailers that they're promoting about the end here, and it's Maul's voiceover saying, I think you have felt it, whatever, like the dark side's as powerful as it's ever been, or whatever, something along those lines. And I was just thinking, I'm assuming he's talking to Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I'm just thinking, like, this next episode, since this episode does take place before Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan are there. Like, I don't know, like, or what if he was, just crazy theory, what if he was talking to Anakin and he was saying, because I was just thinking, like, that would be a cool conversation for Maul and Anakin to have, something like that. Yeah. That really makes Anakin think about light side, dark side, which leads him to be a little more accepting of learning from the dark side. Yeah. To save Padme. So I'm just thinking, like, again, like, there's so much that they can do still that would totally change the game. One of the cool connections already that people were talking about is this next episode we may see Cato Nemodia, and the events that happen in this next episode are what Obi-Wan references in Revenge of the Sith when he's talking to Anakin, talking about, like, I've saved your life for the 11th time or whatever, or 10th time, and then Obi-Wan says no because Cato Nemodia doesn't count or whatever. So
that's pretty.
It's cool. Like, that's gonna be so cool to know what that means now. It's just, even though old canon, we already knew what that was from a book, A Labyrinth of Evil, but it's just good. It's just going to be so much fun to have new things to shape our perspectives of the film.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So going into the Siege of Mandalore, one of the things that was dropped news-wise as well was that the concluding episode is actually going to be released on May the 4th, which is a Monday.
Okay.
So did you read that?
I didn't see that part, no.
Yeah, so the 12th episode, the last episode of the series, will conclude on May the 4th. Which is, you have to wait 3 more days after that Friday, expecting that Friday.
Very
and it's
cool.
going to also drop that same day this Disney Plus behind the scenes docuseries. I think it's an 8-parter about season 1 of The Mandalorian.
8 1-hour episodes.
Yeah, which is massive. It's longer than the episodes.
Yeah. What the heck?
You had all this footage. You probably could have made the episodes longer.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, that's what's coming. It's an 8-part series. It's pretty cool that they're doing it. I'm assuming that's coming out weekly, not the entire thing, because that's Disney Plus's style, it seems like. But like I said, it's if you go to StarWars.com, there's an article right there. It says May the 4th. Also known as Star Wars Day, is a brand new series debuting. Disney Plus will take us behind the scenes of the first Star Wars live-action series, The Mandalorian, which started as a fan-generated grassroots holiday. Star Wars Day has become a full-fledged celebration of the Star Wars saga, embraced by the entire galaxy. This year, fans can look forward to the highly anticipated conclusion of Star Wars The Clone Wars, alongside the global premiere of the new 8-episode documentary series, Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian.
So is that going to be a ongoing series, Disney Gallery?
Yes, I think
it's going to be different stuff. That's
yeah,
cool.
That's what it seems like, because it's got its own little logo. Disney Gallery, and then underneath it has Star Wars: The Mandalorian. So
yeah, it says it'll start on Monday, but then it'll be every Friday after that.
Oh, the gallery one. Yeah,
Mandalorian will premiere Monday, May 4th, with new episodes every Friday on Disney Plus.
So, those of you who didn't know, there you go. The Clone Wars is not concluding on that Friday. It'll be that Monday.
Yeah, that's crazy.
May the 4th.
Yeah. Another crazy thing I just read, I think you shared this morning about also May the 4th, but this is a thing that Disney's doing in general, is they are heavily discounting a lot of their films. Their expansive collection now that since they own so many other things. Like right now, there's like a batch of films, Disney films, but from other studios that you can buy for $5. Everything's gonna be $5 on like iTunes or something. On May the 4th, all the Star Wars movies will be $5.
Yes, I did hear about this. Yeah,
and then you can also buy the Skywalker Saga, or maybe it's just all like a bundle of all the films. But I don't know how much. I can't imagine that's $5, but that will most likely just be discounted from like $100. I think is what it is right now.
$5. That's crazy.
$5. Yeah, if you don't already own the movies.
Even The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I don't know when it's going to be Disney Plus, but it's like, that's great. It's very cheap, but I'll still probably just wait for it to be on Disney Plus. At that point, it's like, if you don't already own it, like, maybe $5, that's fine. But
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. If you have Disney Plus, you're fine. You just got to wait for Rise of Skywalker to get there, which I think it'll get there pretty soon. I'm actually surprised it's not there yet based on what's happening around the world right now, but, so there's that new series coming out for that. Also, another announcement. If you watched, I saw it on Star Wars News, Weekly News. It's always kind of been known that there's a new Clone Wars book coming out later this year called Star Wars: The Clone Wars Anthology. It was revealed today, the book cover. And as well as some of the authors that are going to be writing in this book. So there's several authors. Now, what I've read about it, or what I've heard about it, is that it's a collection of stories, but it's kind of a retelling of ones that we've already seen. Is that what you kind of?
10 they're using that word retellings. 10 retellings of memorable episodes and arcs, and then one original Night Sisters based story.
Right.
And I think it's subtitled. The whole thing is anthology, but stories of light and dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some of the authors, you got 11 stories, 11 authors. You got Lou Anders, Prita Shiba, Zoraida Cordova, who did Fate of the Clash of
Fate.
Clash of Fate, yeah. You got Jason Fry, who did the Last Jedi.
He's done a lot.
Yeah, he did the Last Jedi novelization. Rebecca Roanhouse, Greg Van Eckhout, Tom Engelberger. Why do authors have crazy last names? I feel like E. Ann Convery, Sarah Beth Durst, Yuhan Lee, and Ann Ursu. So those are all of the those like sound like Star Wars names.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
yeah, that's makes some Star Wars writers, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, great. I mean, I gotta say, I wish that the stories that we just talked about, those were the ones that were going to be in this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about reading stories that we've already seen about.
Mm-hmm.
Curious about the Night Sisters one, but
yeah.
But obviously that's a prequel, or earlier in the series, because they basically get wiped out.
Right. Yeah.
So is this categorized as an adult? I'm sure it's a young adult novel, right? I guess
it has the feel of being a young adult type collection of stories. Yeah. But yeah, that's just the feeling. It doesn't stay explicitly here.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's coming August 25th, and you can pre-order that right now.
It's even Disney Books. I feel like Disney Books typically only puts out young adult, right?
Yeah,
that's
if
right.
It's not Del Rey, then yeah, that's right. All right, moving
8 to 12-year-old range. There you go. It says right there.
Oh. Yeah, there you go.
8 to 12-year-olds.
We've got some little news on Cassie and Andor. They got a couple new cast members. I don't know if you read that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stellan Skarsgård and Kyle Soller. Stellan is I'm very recognizable in my book. I haven't seen Kyle Soller and the stuff that he's been in.
Mm-hmm.
But Stellan Skarsgård, big right now in the MCU.
Right.
He's been in Thor and the Avengers movies.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him long ago from Good Will Hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Great actor.
He's
obviously
bootstrap Bill Turner. It was Orlando Bloom character, Will Turner's father.
That's right. Movie. Yes, he was in the Pirates movies. That's right. So good castings there. Even though the production right now is halted after about 6 weeks of production, that thing is locked down right now. So who knows when that's going to get going again? But that's still on. Actually, not on pace. It got pushed back to releasing in 2021. Yeah. So unfortunately, we're not going to get that before Mandalorian. Mandalorian will be the next series again in October.
Mm-hmm.
So is your excitement for Cassian the same, or?
It's about the same. In terms of I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, I'm not worried about it being a bad show. It's just I like Cassian as a character, so but I'm kind of even about it all. I'm not.
I think what's funny though is, and maybe I'm just drawing a blank, but I'm not even sure who's the showrunner on that series. Do we know that?
No. I don't know the showrunner, no.
Because we know Deborah Cho is doing Obi-Wan.
Right.
We know, obviously, Favreau and Filoni are on Mandalorian. It's like, I don't know who's heading Cassian. which you would think. I mean, it just hasn't been much talked about with that show at all. So I'm not sure who we're relying on to, guide this thing and move this thing and get this thing on the air. But curious on when that's going to be announced, because even these castings, even this casting of Stellan and Kyle, they're not released on Lucasfilm and StarWars.com. They're released out, just on the internet sites. So,
right.
Haven't heard anything like that, but I'm hoping we get, because I anticipate there would be a lot of announcements at Celebration if that happens still.
Yeah. Celebration has if it happens, has a potential to be just a big one, just for the fact of it'll be one of the first big conventions we'll all be able to get to go to this year.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll make it worthwhile for everybody, even more so.
But it does make you wonder how people are going to be at that.
I don't know,
because no one, and I mean no one, at any celebration I've been to has a problem being really close to somebody else.
No, you're forced to.
You are completely forced to.
I was just thinking, because I was talking to someone the other day about, actually my father-in-law, about when they revealed the trailer, and I was actually looking at pictures because it's been a year. It's been exactly 1 year.
Oh, right.
People were posting pictures from that weekend and the trailer and the moment of that, and I was just like, we were shoulder to shoulder. And just thinking back to that picture, wall to wall, that entire floor was covered with people. Can't move. So it's like, wow, I can't imagine doing that right now.
I mean, when we came in, I guess that first day waiting in line, I mean, hundreds of people just like pushing each other and
you're
up against each other.
Through. Yeah.
And then you're sitting next to each other, waiting, just breathing on each other and coughing on each other. And it's a wonder if everybody's going to be in masks, if everybody, even if this thing even happens, unfortunately. So
I know. Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, when we were getting our Master and Apprentice copy that one morning, we're like pushing through people, squeezing out through any hole, between people. It's like, oh my gosh.
It is crazy, because I just saw on the news that California actually seems like it's got a pretty good handle on this thing. And
that's good news.
Yeah, they've got low numbers.
I imagine they would be one of the first states to start opening. Yeah, because they were the first to really get it bad. Them in New York, so that would be. But then it's like, I don't get too much in the weeds in this, but then it's like people from those other states are coming in. It's just,
I know,
that sense of it. So we'll see. I mean, we won't really know. I'm sure for another month about what if it's a yay or nay with them.
Totally
interesting.
Totally. Okay. So moving in with that, the other article I kind of came across and made me think about was this notion that it's getting brought up again about Star Wars films, getting back to the May releases.
Mm-hmm.
And Solo was the first one that was supposed to kind of kick that off. I'm not sure if that meant that The Rise of Skywalker was supposed to be released in May, but because I can't imagine why. I mean, with the success that Star Wars was having in December, I mean, they should have. I still am firm belief they should have released Solo in December.
Yeah, no, probably. Yeah.
Gave people a lot more time to get, be anticipated and excited for it.
Yeah.
But that release was supposed to trigger those Solo, or no pun intended, those Star Wars stories to start releasing in May. But instead, apparently, they have abandoned that and now have kind of dedicated May to Avengers movies or MCU movies. Black Widow being one that was supposed to come out this year.
Right.
And did you hear? This is a complete side note. I read a Twitter saying that Disney is planning. Now, I don't know how much truth this is. It is, but the expectation of when people could go back to theaters, that Disney, based on their catalog of films this year, would be releasing a new movie every week.
I've read this. I've read it somewhere. Yeah, that was the. I think it was. I feel like that was someone speculating. Like with all, but I think I just
the amount of movies they had coming.
Through.
Yeah,
yeah. It's just like for all the movies that they've been having to push and that they have coming. Then at the end of the year, it's like they're gonna have to do it a week. One a week.
No way.
Well, but from what just today, like our federal government was talking about how they're already putting in plans for 3 phases of opening the country back up, that kind of thing, and movie theaters are obviously part of that to get that back up and running. So
yeah,
I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah, but there's movies that were coming out this year from Disney. They already pushed till next year. Like Jungle Cruise got pushed till next summer, even though it was ready to go this summer. But so it's going to be a different shift for them. But speaking of movies, in a way, we kind of wanted to have fun a little bit with aside from the Obi-Wan movie that was in works and now it's going to be on Disney Plus, apparently. You've got there was rumors about a Boba Fett movie. There was rumors about a Yoda movie. Aside from those, if they were going to be doing these movies, case after Solo came out, so you had Rogue One, you have Solo. I mean, how would you have rolled some of these out, and which ones did you want to see, or what stories do you think that they should have focused on and told?
Well, I think they should have. I mean, thankfully we're getting a show now, but it's like I feel from day one, what people even before I feel like the buyout happened, people wanted an Obi-Wan Kenobi something, right? I feel like I don't know. I feel like at least when that happened and they announced they're going to do these solo films, it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come on, like what? And just say you're going to do it because we know you're going to do it. But anyways, finally we're getting that. Other than that, I mean, I feel like they really had an opportunity, and they still could do it, but the actress I have in mind is a little older now. But they should have done a young Leia movie. I think that would have been perfect. Basically, like the story of Leia, like that time period. Maybe a little younger even. Like she could be 10, 11, 12, that kind of thing. Even 14. I feel like that you're pushing like 5 years. You don't age that much different, so you just need to cast really well. And it's like at the time where this started happening and I was already kind of like thinking, this would be a good movie. Millie Bobby Brown, who plays 11 in Stranger Things, would have, when she had that younger face, she's several years older now because, they're moving into season 4 of Stranger Things. But when that show first started, how she was, like when she really looked like a baby, she would have, to me, made a perfect young Leia. I mean, she still could, but now it's like you're too close in age, I feel like. So I feel like a young Leia movie like that would have been really cool. Get a nice coming-of-age story with, a young female protagonist. And you see Alderaan. You see just Alderaan at its peak. You bring Jimmy Smits back, and it's just and we see Brea. We have one scene with her mother, so it's like when it had so much opportunity to explore that culture and you can get the political side and you can get a little bit of the Imperial and hints of rebel cells. It's like just a movie focusing on that would have been at least, I think that would have been great to see. And you can even bring in the legacy of Padme into it.
Yeah.
Basically, that deleted scene, Revenge of the Sith, where they met together, Mon Mothma, Bail, and Padme. It's like you can reference that, or even show it. You can use it as a flashback. So it's like I think you had a lot of opportunity there too, and they could still do it. So everybody's getting older now, so it's getting harder.
It's tougher now, yeah.
But I think that would have been a great movie to do. I think because it's a good bridging the trilogies. It's a good moment to do that for good acknowledgement of kind of what's been done. So I would have loved to have seen a young Leia kind of Bail Organa kind of movie. There would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, thankfully, the only other one was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Thankfully, we're getting that series. Boba Fett, I was never too. I mean, it's cool because he's awesome, but it's just movies about essentially villains are just a hard sell for me personally. Even though Boba Fett's awesome, and I think you just my thought of it is you just combine and you do a Han Solo / Boba Fett thing. You maybe throw a really good hero and a good villain into it, not just focusing on a good villain. But now, since based on what they've already done with Solo, we've always talked on the show about an underworld type MCU, where it's you can do TV shows, but I would love more stories and more films or TV shows centered around that. And it doesn't seem like they're going to do it. It just, they lay some good not Easter eggs. They lay some good seeds out there for these potential stories, but Lucasfilm doesn't seem to be capitalizing on it just yet. So it's like Darth Maul. He's just hanging out there. They just left it out there. So now that you put it out there, now I want to see it. So
yeah,
I don't know. That would be cool. That would be good to see some kind of film, movie, kind of continuing that universe there. So that would be great. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that I do think you're right. The Boba Fett one, I think a lot of people would have been excited about that, but ultimately, I think you would have gotten a lot of people probably killing the story, no matter what the story was going to be.
Yeah. Lawrence Kasdan had an idea for it, but
do what?
Lawrence Kasdan, I think, had some kind of crazy idea for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think what you got to do is when you look at between 3 and 4, episodes 3 and 4, you do run into that issue of people's ages when you're talking about the human factor, and even Bail Organa, he would look a little. It'd be tougher to get him to look young. Yeah. So to me, you almost got to focus on characters in masks, or characters or alien characters in a sense. Because that way, it doesn't matter what time period you're landing on. So when I look at that, I think if you would have had somebody like a Feige, like a creative person that was mapping this kind of story out, and not that they had to fully connect, but you could have made them connect in a way, right? Just like how we've talked about before, how Solo should have tried to connect with Rogue One. And all you had to do is show Saw Gerrera at the end with that with Ephes Nest, right? So I still go back to thinking that they should have held off Solo for Disney Plus. And what I would have done, or what I would have liked to see, and I think you would have, I know you just said you wouldn't center it around villains, but you could have done a series of films around Vader.
Oh, wow.
And I'm only saying that mainly because of what we've gotten in the comics.
Right. That's right. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Because if you're introducing, because we were under the impression, I was, ever since episode 3 came out, that he is Vader and he is not Anakin.
Yeah.
But we've seen through the comics and through the VR series game that came out, there very much still lives Anakin in his mind. Yeah. And he is still trying to find his way to Padme.
Right.
That's kind of the hero villain story in itself. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to still hold on to what he was and what he had, but he's still fulfilling and serving his master. And I think that you could have done, I think it's funny how in A New Hope, they made Rogue One out of the crawl.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you could have made the Vader series out of simply what Obi-Wan said was he helped the Emperor hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. Like, you could have had him competing against and finding all these Jedi, throughout the years. And you could have done a lot of, and I think you could have done a lot of interactions with characters that, again, connect the dots. And you just said one of them, like, just imagine, like, him coming across Bail Organa. And Bail knows, I think Bail knows, right? I mean, he knows Anakin's Vader. He had to have known because he's the one that told.
He did.
He told Leia, right?
Yeah. Well, he did in that message, right?
In the message.
Yeah.
So the fact that you could see him like maybe he like is hiding Leia because he knows Vader's coming, kind of thing. It's like, you could have had fun with a lot of those characters, and Mothma, showing up, and there's still a Senate at that point. I mean, he hasn't dissolved the Senate still, so the Emperor's still trying to maintain some kind of or a government.
Yeah.
We could have seen him build his castle.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think that's like the one character. I mean, to be honest, if you think about it, I know Rogue One did $1 billion in the theater, but part of me really feels like a lot of people went because Vader was in it. And they wanted to see that scene with Vader in it, right? Because you take him out of that, does it do as well? Maybe. But, I mean, you got to admit, that's the only time we've ever seen him just kick butt like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So
to see a series like a movie, like a Vader trilogy is what I would have done. But you're right, because you are focusing on really the one way to make a movie or show or stories. I mean, Charles Soule did it, so the only way it works is by giving him a very human and empathetic element like that of trying to bring back his loved one, and like, for me, I read it as like not so much he wants to go back to that life of Anakin. I don't know. Like to me, it's really tragic where it's, he feels like he feels like he can have both. He can still keep, because I feel like he truly believes the dark side's powerful. Like he feels like he's more powerful than the dark side, and it's like he almost wants to keep that life and also bring back Padme, thinking she will be with him as he is this Vader person. Oh, agreed.
Which is very tragic because like that's not even gonna. Even if you brought her back, she wouldn't even want to be with you, the way you are now. So, but that drive and that motivation does sell. It's very compelling, and I would definitely watch. As I read the series, I would definitely watch that show, or that movie. That would be incredible. And like, you're right. Again, your story, like my Leia story, it's the same. Like you are allowing yourself to bring so much cool, like. Just moments connecting to the prequels. Like think of seeing Coruscant in a film during this time, how Emperor has transformed it, and seeing you can have a little couple moments here, scenes here and there where you get glimpses of Palpatine and how he is, and you get Ian McDiarmid. So it's like you have so much great opportunity there. It's to me it's like the fan service, but it's centered around a great, compelling story. It's what. It's what we're getting in those comics, the Vader comics and all that stuff. So it's possible to do it in a film. So,
I totally think it is. And I would not be surprised if they do it eventually. I mean, I think I don't think Vader's story is, even though the Skywalker saga, I mean, does that mean they'll never do a story about Vader again? I don't know. I don't think, how could you... I mean, he's iconically one of the most popular characters in all of cinema, not just Star Wars. I mean, how can you not ever do another movie about him? It doesn't have to be part of the Skywalker saga. I mean, Because at that point, the Skywalker saga is more about his kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, but that makes me actually double think that. Do you think because of the Skywalker saga is on it, they would never do a movie or anything about Vader?
I think that's definitely what they're kind of alluding to.
Yeah.
I don't think they will do a movie about Vader. I can see it. I can see a show. It's like I almost think of it as like a show, as like a very soft and subtle way of kind of still getting like a loophole in a way of like still telling some Skywalker stories.
Mm-hmm.
Do maybe a show about it because it's on a big screen. It doesn't have that kind of attention that a big screen movie does. So I don't know, but I can't see a Vader. They know what I can see is if Vader's in a show, but it's not necessarily about him. Like what if they did? I can see them doing like an Dr. Afra type of thing where.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's the thing. It's like I feel like these stories are being told already in comics, and they're filling in pretty much all the gaps between, for me, for Vader's story between 3 and 4. Like they're filling in all the gaps right now with this comic series. So it is getting harder and harder to find, I think, that space and that time frame to tell more Vader stories, in a live action type of setting. So, but it would be hard. I think it would definitely be a challenge to do a film, fitting it in, especially now, with the saga being over.
Yeah, I just can't. I don't know. I just can't imagine. And I think this might be a topic for our next show. Is that I don't know why, even though the 9 films make up the Skywalker saga, I don't know why you would not. Because if you're willing to do those characters in a book or a comic,
mm-hmm.
there's still no reason why you couldn't do a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's you're still telling stories around those characters. Mm-hmm. It's not just an episodic part, just like the 9 movies are. You can still have a movie of Vader and not because that story is not part of the Skywalker story. It's the Vader story, right? So
yeah,
I don't think you should hinder yourself because I think Vader is still just one of the most popular characters. I think people would freak out if they saw a Vader trailer all of a sudden drop and like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're getting Obi-Wan, we're getting Cassie, we're getting these characters that are part of the saga in a way. It's like because they've got to, like you just talked about, filling in the gap. I mean, there's a 30-year gap now between 6 and 7, and you're telling me they're not going to do stories about Leia, about Luke starting starting his Jedi Order. They're gonna come. They're gonna do those. So let's do something. Let's do something with these characters that are popular. I mean, we definitely want new ones. I think the High Republic. I think you might be missing. Swinging and missing on that if you're not doing any kind of live action series or movies with that.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that is a good topic for down the road. Is what. Well, I'll tell you one topic. I might preview this right now for next week because I've been thinking about this, and I think I mentioned it to you like on text, but like when I kind of talked to you guys about when I rewatched Rise of Skywalker, and it looks. I never noticed it, to be honest. I never noticed it till this last time I watched it. But when Rey is confronting Palpatine with the 2 sabers, I mean, she's not. To me, it doesn't. I'm convinced now that she's not deflecting his energy; she's sending her own energy, which makes sense that she's able to destroy him. Like she destroyed him. She didn't just deflect his power because we saw earlier when she destroyed the transport that she's got that power,
right?
And you can clearly see it's coming. Like he stops it, and she's just sending it back to him anyway. So I got to thinking about this again. This is just a preview because I don't want to get into it right now. But I mean, if you think about it, is it actually the Skywalker saga, or is it the Palpatine saga?
Oh gosh, yeah, that's
because in the end, it's about 2 Palpatines.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You can definitely see it that way.
Well, the way I see it, the way I'm starting to see it, I'm not saying that's why I think we need to have a discussion. I'm starting to see it as that at the end of episode 6, that was the end of the Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was Anakin's journey, Anakin's Skywalker journey. And this has been, because the first character in episode 7 that we're introduced to is Rey.
Mm-hmm.
This is, to me, a Palpatine story, almost. I mean, anyway. So I'm almost thinking they should have done like a 6-part Palpatine series movies.
Oh my gosh.
Do 10, so 11, and 12.
Yeah.
And now you got Rey, continue Rey's story, whatever. It's just, anyway.
Someone was asking me the other day, because they just saw Rise of Skywalker, and so they were asking me about questions of like,
they just saw the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, so they were really confused about the lineage and everything, and they were saying that they overheard the rumor about Palpatine creating Anakin with midichlorians.
Oh.
And so she was like, so they're cousins, right? Because Anakin is Palpatine's son, and this, and then so I was like, oh, that's an unconfirmed rumor. But it just, you saying that made me think, like, if that was ever confirmed, then the whole saga is a Palpatine saga.
Yeah.
Because Palpatine started Anakin, and then then it's coming back around.
He's not a Skywalker, he's a Palpatine.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? It's the Palpatine saga. So I don't know. No, I truly, like I said, I think it's still the Skywalker saga. The first 6 movies are.
Yeah.
But this if it's this one's about Rey, she's a Palpatine. I know she becomes a Skywalker, but it's like, again, we'll get into it. But my feeling is that maybe she shouldn't have been a Palpatine. Maybe in order to get the Skywalker name, maybe she should have been nobody and taken it, and then she's truly a Skywalker. Anyway. So we'll get into that next week, actually, because and I want to bring Cody in on that conversation because I'm curious on what he would think about that. So
good conversation.
Yeah. And of course, next week I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about this first episode of the Siege of Mandalore, which drops in about probably 5 hours.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
actually 3 hours. It's midnight now. I can never stay up till 3. If it was last night, I was actually up till 3 last night. I would have been able to watch it, but I'm gonna crash tonight. Watch it first thing in the morning. So anything else, Case? I think that might be it.
I think that about covers it.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go to, of course, InsideTheForce.com. Check us out there. Siege of Mandalore, like we said, starts tomorrow on Friday. Go listen to the Mandalore Podcast. We release those usually every Monday, where we break down in detail those episodes. But of course, come here with all of your Star Wars needs. We did get a great email. In fact, Case, I don't know if you probably didn't listen to the show, but after we got done, we actually got a fan email in late, and I did an insert read where we read it and kind of put it in there. But he mentions a gentleman named Ty. His nickname's TIE Fighter.
Sweet.
Yeah. But Ty mentions how he's so happy that he found the Mandalore Podcast and Inside the Force. Cool. So thank you, Ty, for checking us out, and cool. A great email. And hope you enjoy the show, and send us some questions or feedback if you got them. We'll address anything you need. So
absolutely.
And we will continue to do our remote sessions here. Hopefully, we get back in the studio sooner rather than later. And hopefully, we get some news about Celebration here soon.
Yes.
Nothing yet.
Yeah.
I hear Comic-Con is close to shutting down, though. Which
is
in
that's
July.
A little earlier. Not too much. It's a couple weeks early.
It's about a month, I think.
A month early?
About 4 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
So, but Comic-Con's like double the amount of people too.
Sure.
So that was kind of expected in my mind. But all right, everybody, have a great and safe weekend. Take care of each other, and we will talk to you guys and see you guys next week. For Casey Cooley.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'm Dave Cottingham. May the Force be with you.